Good morning. And welcome. Well, good morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. And boy, am I glad you joined us this morning. In the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking about Sparkle coming up this weekend. This may be the biggest, most eventful weekend of the year. I have so many events to highlight this morning that I hope I don't forget them all. We want to help all of these organizations, and we'll get to them a little bit later on in the program. First, let's start, and making it tough on me this morning, from a viewer comment. I discovered a phrase, and this isn't a Karen quote of the week, but it's very similar to Karen's quote of the week. Epicitis, that rings true these days when the left attacks. Perhaps in these times, Republicans should listen to his wise words. Quote, letting others or external events dictate your feelings, especially anger, surrenders your freedom and power, making them your ruler. The Dems seem to be experts at inciting anger. His part wasn't at the end, I don't think. I think the quote ended at ruler. The Dems seem to be experts at inciting anger. That does seem to be the case. We are going to talk about that. Sorry, I noticed my tie was off. Let me just put it this way. We have a lot of breaking news from yesterday, a lot of things I can't segue to, a really major story, a couple major stories coming out of New York. We're going to be talking about Pete Hegseth. First, I thought we would start on a positive note. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump were at the National Christmas Tree lighting on the Ellipse yesterday. Trump cited John 1:4. I guess we're kicking off with a lot of quotes. John 1:4 saying, tonight this beautiful evergreen tree glows bright on the dark and cold winter night and reminds us of the words of the Gospel of John. Quote, "In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind." End quote. Beautiful words, Trump said. With the birth of Jesus, human history turned from night to day. His word and his example call us to love one another, to serve one another, and to honor the sacred truth that every child is specially made in the image of God. Noting that America is approaching its 250th anniversary on July 4th of next year, Trump said that the nation has stood tall, in part because millions of our citizens have heeded that call, and the faith and service of Christians have been essential parts of America's strength from the very, very beginning. We love the Christians. We love all religions. And by the way, religion is coming back to the USA. You see that very strong. Trump emphasized that during Advent, Christians the world over are rejoicing in celebration of the birth of Christ 2 millennia ago. Quote, "During the holy season, Christians everywhere rejoice at the miracle in Bethlehem. More than 2,000 years ago, when the Son of God, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, came down from heaven to be with us. Full of grace and truth, he brought the gift of God's love into the world and the promise of salvation for every person and every nation." The First Lady lit the tree following a countdown, and Trump finished his remarks wishing all a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, and a Happy New Year. Now, talk about an attendance list. Listen to this, who attended the ceremony. Vice President J.D. Vance, Second Lady Usha Vance and their family, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and his family, Attorney General Pam Bondi and her guest John Wakefield, Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum and his wife, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his wife, and that's Cheryl Hines, the actress, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and her husband Abraham Williams, and Small Business Administration Administrator, wow, that's a title, Small Business Administration Administrator Kelly Loeffler and her husband, per the White House Pool Report. Also there, NFL legend Wayne Gretzky was on hand, and the musical performers, the Beach Boys, Gabby Barrett, John Party, Elena Springsteen, Matthew West, Brett Young, and Warren Zeters. So if you missed that event, it was quite amazing. Trump declared his love for all U.S. citizens. This comes off the heels of people criticizing him about his take on the scandal involving that, what was it called, feeding fund, and talking about Somalia. So Trump's saying, "I want to pay my deepest respect and love to all of our great citizens, like 350 million people. We love them all, whether you like them or not." That might have been a little off script. We love them all, whether you like them or not. We love them all. We want to take care of everybody. We have to take care of everybody in our country. So that's coming off, according to this piece, a mean streak by the president. Okay. Also in breaking news, Trump ordered flags at half-staff in honor of the National Guard woman, Sarah Beckstrom, issuing the proclamation yesterday, and shortly after, the flags on the White House grounds were lowered to half-staff. The proclamation directs flags to be flown at half-staff upon all public buildings and grounds, at all military posts and naval stations, and all naval vessels of the federal government in the District of Columbia, and throughout the United States and its territories and possessions until sunset. I also direct that the flags shall be flown at half-staff for the same length of time at all United States embassies, consular's office, and other facilities abroad, including all military facilities and naval vessels and stations. He emphasized the act as a mark of respect for the memory of Specialist Sarah Beckstrom, who lost her life. The authorities have identified the gunman, Ramanullah Lockenwall, 29. Trump said during Tuesday's cabinet meeting that Beckstrom was an incredible person, highly respected, top of her class. She was like a perfect human being, 20 years old, just started. She was like a baby. Trump added that she loves her parents, and they loved her. So that's how we kick off the program. There is a lot of breaking news, a lot of kind of, I don't want to say recaps, but kind of additions to, I guess is a better term to use, of stories that we've brought to you all week or in the last couple of weeks. We're going to be talking about those. We do need to get into, like I said, a little bit about Hegseth. I've got an update, when I say about New York, a major update about New York, the alleged Chinese agent that worked for Governor Hochul and then Governor Andrew Cuomo, we are learning a little bit more about her and what she said about both administrations. That'll be coming up in just a little bit. But let's go through some more breaking stories. And feel free to weigh in on any of the breaking stories. I know sometimes we move ahead and I may be 3 stories ahead of what you were going to comment on. That's okay. We can always recap. President Donald Trump's Department of Justice is adding a Second Amendment rights section to its Civil Rights Division. Reuters noted that the new section is expected to be open as of December 4th, so yesterday. The National Shooting Sports Foundation reported that the creation of the Second Amendment rights section is, quote, a historic course correction in federal policy and highlights the Trump administration's continued efforts to assess ongoing infringements on Second Amendment rights. I think this is a wonderful move. I know there's a lot of people in this audience. We have a lot of gun owners, gun rights supporters that are going to find this to be welcoming news. The National Shooting Sports Foundation added, the Civil Rights Division now has an institutional home for cases in which state or local officials abuse licensing and permitting authority to deny ordinary citizens their rights. DOJ has already shown it is willing to investigate jurisdictions accused of slow walking concealed carry approvals and imposing excessive fees and delays. After Bruin, the new office is designed to expand that work and give gun owners, retailers, and shooting ranges somewhere to turn when their rights are targeted through backdoor regulations. Reuters had a different take on it, referring to it as a reorganization and claiming that that reorganization is another step in a series of actions by the Trump administration to redefine civil rights with policies championed by conservatives, a departure from traditional civil rights issues, including racial discrimination and policing. There's an example of your media bias to twist the new Second Amendment's rights section in the Civil Rights Division as to almost they're pulling double duty there. They're suggesting that he's more focused on gun rights, which of course they're not going to be a big fan of in the media, and then I guess supportive of racial discrimination. I mean, leave it to the media. Unfortunately, I have a lot of media updates this morning. Not a lot, but we have quite a few media updates. And I know sometimes it gets your blood boiling, but we have to be aware. Also, before we, on the fly here. Oh, let's do this one, and then we'll take a break, and then we've got a couple updates, a couple things to get to. We're going to move fast this morning. These shows all week have been going fast. There's been a lot of news to cover in what is typically kind of a slow news period, December. I'm not saying slow breaking news necessarily. Anything can happen, but when it comes to the actions of the Trump administration, you don't really think of December as an overly busy month other than like tree lighting ceremonies and the like. But U.S. and Kenya have signed the first of what are expected to be dozens of America First global health deals. The agreement that will prioritize combating infectious diseases in countries deemed to be aligned with the president's broader foreign policy goals and positions. The 5-year, $2.5 billion agreement with Kenya was signed Thursday by Kenyan President William Ruto and Secretary of State Marco Rubio to replace a patchwork of previous health agreements that had traditionally been run by the U.S. Agency for International Development for decades. Now we know that organization, USAID, was dismantled earlier this year. The elimination of that USAID as a separate agency sparked widespread criticism and concern in the global health community as its immediate impact resulted in the defunding of hundreds of programs, but we know the waste, fraud that was involved in that. We talked about that numerous times. Rubio said the agreement with Kenya aims to strengthen U.S. leadership and excellence in global health while eliminating dependency, ideology, inefficiency, and waste from our foreign assistance architecture. He also praised Kenya for its role in leading and contributing to the International Stabilization Force working to combat powerful gangs in Haiti. Ruto lauded the agreement and said Kenya would continue to play a role in Haiti as the gang suppression force transitions to a broader operation. Under the deal, the U.S. will contribute $1.7 billion of the total amount, with the Kenyan government covering the remaining $850 million. The agreement focuses on preventing and treating diseases such as HIV and AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis, with an emphasis on faith-based medical providers. Although all clinics and hospitals enrolled in Kenya's health insurance system will be eligible to receive funding, according to U.S. officials. So there you are. There's a couple of quick updates that you may have, other than the tree lighting ceremony, that you may have missed yesterday. There's a couple here that you probably did not miss, but we're still going to give them to you, and we're also going to talk about some updates from throughout the week. We're just getting started. Boy, it's feeling good. It's feeling Christmassy out there, isn't it? We've got a lot of fun events coming up this weekend that I'll be highlighting. Next week is a star-studded week of guests. Today is star-studded because we're going to be talking with the Gaffer District in the 7 o'clock hour. So stay with us. Keep those waves, keep those comments coming in, and we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
This is Jim from Famous Brands. We are ready for fall and loaded with all of your favorite brands. Great new deals are arriving every week. We have the largest selection of clothing and footwear in the Finger Lakes, all at below retail prices. Famous Brands, downtown Watkins Glen, where you're always looking good for less.
Hi, this is the owner of Hesselson's in Amara Heights. At Hesselson's, we care about your well-being and overall health, whether it's relieving stress, muscle recovery, increasing circulation, or just revitalizing the body. Hesselson's now has 2 complete line of infrared and traditional rock saunas in our new and expanded showroom. Come in today and see why owning a sauna is a start of your new healthy lifestyle. Hesselson's is still locally and family-owned and operated in Amara Heights. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Nearly 5 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bust.
Thousands lined the pier at Seneca Harbor. Race weekend brought thousands to Watkins Glen International.
Hundreds and horseheads joined other cities around the country on Saturday for the No Kings protest.
Tide isn't just a gentle ebb and flow. It's a mighty force of change. Just like the tide shapes our shorelines, we can shape our planet's future and protect the world's oceans from its biggest threats. Help us turn the tide. Join Oceania's wave of ocean advocates who are making a difference in the world.
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. Retirement is the long game. We can't play about our future or our finances. Let's put ourselves in the right position.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. Mark writes in this morning. Good morning, Mark. I see the Admiral admitted that Hegseth did not give orders to shoot them all on the drug boat. He didn't even order a second strike. We're going to be talking about that in depth, but did you see that Representative, he's a Democrat from Michigan. You would know him if you saw his face and his hair. Sri Thandar announced he will file articles of impeachment against Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, which, again, this is coming from the Hill, who is at the center of 2 scandals at the Defense Department. Thandar told Fox News, the secretary has to go. He's incompetent. He's, violated. He has committed war crimes. He must go. And if both parties, if Republicans are willing to look at this for the merit of this case and not just their loyalty to President Trump, this can be done. According to the Hill, the 2 scandals is the Signal app debacle. And then they have, of course, what Mark was talking about, the drug boats. Which that story is ever changing. And we're going to get to that in more in depth. Now, Thandar said both controversies saw the need for accountability from both parties, using the discharge petition to force a vote on a bill to release all the files. What? Oh, they use that same kind of thing that was with Epstein. Okay, there you are. But what we learn is, let's see, Thandar has also introduced articles of impeachment against Trump in April. You get the whole idea. Getting a little press from this. But we're going to talk about Pete Hegseth in depth a little bit later on in the program. As you may have learned yesterday, one last update. The federal grand jury has declined to indict New York Attorney General Letitia James. This is after refiling the mortgage fraud charges. The jury was impaneled to review the case again, but rejected revised mortgage fraud charges brought by other federal prosecutors in Norfolk. Roger Keller, who has been serving as a federal prosecutor in Missouri before joining the team to prosecute James in Virginia on October 22nd, presented the indictment. James had previously faced 2 counts brought by acting U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan. You know all of that. But the breaking story yesterday, kind of later afternoon, federal grand jury has declined to indict Letitia James. I'm not sure if she has been quoted. Or I know she originally called it baseless. All right, there you are. Now, we mentioned yesterday, and it was an odd scenario, but Governor Newsom, Gavin Newsom from California, we are being almost forced to accept him as the front runner for the next presidential election, 2028. As a matter of fact, Politico telling us almost get over it. He's the front runner. Well, we had the story for you yesterday where Halle Berry, the actress, before he was at the same summit, before he spoke, she said that he should not be president, that he ignores women. There was a whole laundry list, and it was quite I guess it even got some gasps and groans from the audience. But the Academy Award-winning actress publicly torched him for twice vetoing legislation with expanding access to menopause care. Berry argued that the term-limited governor, quote, probably should not be our next president because of those vetoes, accusing him of overlooking and devaluing women in on-stage remarks that stunned the crowd in far-left New York City. So Newsom was asked about the criticism, and all you can say is he cowered over the criticism. He said, quote, actually, I was just connected with her manager. We have the ability to reconcile that, so we're reconciling. I've included it in the budget next year. So it takes an Academy Award-winning actress from far left Hollywood, who is, according to, I think it was Variety, Hollywood is embracing him, which blows my mind after the disastrous handling of the wildfires. But he needs that Hollywood support. Now, does it always prove beneficial? No, it really doesn't. If you look at someone like Kamala Harris. But financially, it helps. So he needs that support. So he has to now change his mind or change his budget to reflect the concerns of one Hollywood actress that brought it up in front of a crowd. I guess, is that the only way your constituents have a say, or that you hear them out? But cowering to it, saying, oh, I'm in touch with their manager. We have the ability to reconcile that, so we're reconciling it. I've included it in the budget this year. Newsom suggested that Berry's tongue lashing stemmed from the fact she didn't know about his plans for the menopause bill he refused to sign into law. Kind of condescending, isn't it? Quote, they didn't understand we were already in the process of fixing it, so we are getting it fixed. They didn't. Who's they? Halle Berry was the one that brought it up, but kind of condescending. She didn't know. She didn't know. The bill, championed by Berry, sought to mandate that healthcare plans provide recommendations for menopause-related treatments and require healthcare providers to receive training related to menopause care. Newsom vetoed it over concerns that it would have, quote, unintentionally raised healthcare costs for millions of working women already stretched thin, according to the governor's office. Not anymore. That must change. His opinion on it must have changed, because now, after that tongue lashing, he has changed his tune. So there's your update from yesterday's broadcast. Let's keep going here. This is not an update. Oh, yeah, let's go to this update. This will show them. Remember when Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, said, hey, could we maybe show just a little bit of class when we're flying? It doesn't have to be a suit and tie. Maybe jeans, nice shirt, maybe not pajamas and slippers. Well, apparently there is a sort of protest going on where people are wearing pajamas to airports. Not sure what this accomplishes, not sure what the protest is ultimately for. It sounds like it's more for the attention. Kat Sullivan, a Los Angeles-based TV producer, an internet comedian, ended up running through the concourse in sneakers and a long dress with an old Hollywood feel, saying, quote, "I never bail on a bit." Okay. Sullivan said in the interview that her experiences illustrate how insane this directive is. The dress was incredibly impractical. I think it was like 30 degrees when I landed. It was definitely not the right thing to be wearing. So now, people are wearing slippers. People are wearing pajamas. Others are going the opposite direction, thinking it's funny to wear cocktail dresses and suits. I really thought this was a one-and-done piece, but apparently not. There is some sort of protest. Again, what that protest is, people saying pajamas won. I don't, first of all, airports can be a daunting experience, and sometimes you are left feeling a little like you're ready to take a shower. I don't know how wearing pajamas and slippers makes that experience more pleasurable. But what is it's just got to be a protest about Sean Duffy saying, could we have a little civility and maybe be nice to people when we're at the airport? Maybe dress a little bit? I didn't expect that. I thought that was a one-and-done story. But here we are. We have so many one hits here to get to before we talk about the main issues of the day. Like I said, New York updates. We're going to talk about Hegseth. We're also going to talk about the pipe bomber. Very little is known about that, so that'll be a kind of a quick recap of what Pam Bondi, Judge Janine, Kash Patel had to say, because there's still a lot to learn on that. So we'll talk about that as well. But stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
I'm Marianne Crawford. I've lived here for 70 years, but I do fine right here in my house, and I want to be here as long as I can be. And I feel comfortable knowing that if something happened to me, someone would know because of the cameras that are installed in various spots in my home. That has been a wonderful gift to me to be able to have that security and that support from Full Circle America, and that's what it's all about.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
This is a Collector Consumer Alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
It's the last tea party for Crystal with Miss Marshmallow.
Oh, wow.
And Sarah's first day of management training at Goodwill. When you donate to Goodwill, you help provide skills training and career placement. And the things you love start a new life too.
There's our Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio on Marcus Street in Corning. I forgot to mention, for our friends in Hornell, I'm very excited because this weekend I am going to be on The Pulse with Mayor John Buckley. That is on WLEA. That's at 1 o'clock on Saturday, 1 o'clock on Sunday. Always enjoy being a part of that broadcast. We had a lot to cover this morning, or this weekend, I mean. Force a habit with this morning. A lot to cover this weekend, so I'm excited to be joining the mayor, our good friend John Buckley, on The Pulse on on LEA this Saturday and Sunday. I hope that you can catch it if you're in the Hornell area. Also, we're going to go through some of the events later on that are happening this weekend. But I wanted to mention just specifically and highlight this one very specifically because tomorrow is the Toys for Tots Fill the Patrol Car and Coats for Kids event held by the Steuben County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Jim Allard, who will be on the program, mind you, next Wednesday. He'll be at the event. It's at the Irwin and Hornell Walmart Plazas from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. Toys and children's coats will be collected for Steuben County children. The toys will be distributed to Steuben County children in need, and the new or gently used coats are distributed to the school districts for children in need of cold weather clothing. The event has grown over the past 5 years, and the generosity and charitable spirit at both events last year was overwhelming. And so we look forward to talking with the sheriff on Wednesday of next week to find out how it went. It's normally a huge success. Also, is it housekeeping time? No, we'll bring up some other events later on. I wanted to single that one out by itself. Okay, boy, did you see Stephen A. Smith? I'm sure you probably didn't see this, but Stephen A. Smith locking horns with Whoopi Goldberg on The View. I just have to pass this along real quickly. I know this isn't the biggest story, but I think it's worth noting. Whoopi said, "I know that you have very strong feelings about Democrats, but I do have this to say to you. It is important, I think, for Democrats to show that they stood with the LGBT community, that they stood with black women and women in general. Because once you let us go, once you let women and poor people go, what do you have?" And so I've listened to a lot of people say, that you didn't follow what was necessary, that they did the way they thought they could. It didn't work for them. They got it. Smith said, "See, respectfully, I don't like that. Let me explain. As a Democrat, the bottom line is this. We talk about poor people. Who ain't thinking about poor people? I know I do. I know that most candidates within the Democrat Party that I know they think about poor people. I know they think about the desolate and the disenfranchised. I get that. But what I'm saying is that during the campaign, where you're doing what it takes to win, where are we doing what it takes to win? I would say to anybody that doesn't want J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio or somebody like that to succeed him, focus on what's going to win. That's where my sports background comes in. Tell me what is going to win. I don't want to hear, but I understand the LGBTQ community is important. I understand that the desolate and disenfranchised is somebody who we should always be looking for. I understand the economy. I understand immigration. I get all of that. But the point is, I'm trying to win to make sure that I'm in office and you're not. What is it going to take? The Democrats did not do that last time, and that's what happened. So Sonny Hoiston said, what is the winning issue now? He said affordability and safety, period. Affordability and safety. He later added there would also be a willingness to cross the aisle and show you're willing to work with people to get stuff done so we don't have the chaos just because we disagree. Joy Behar then had the laughable line, "I think that Democrats try harder than the Republicans to do that." Meaning cross the aisle? Smith asked, "Really? I don't know about that." Yeah, that's one of those throwaway lines by Joy Behar that makes no sense, but she has to get her 2 cents in there. He also went on a tirade about Senator Mark Kelly's video urging troops to ignore illegal orders. He had said things about it in the past, calling Kelly loud and wrong. After playing the clip of Smith's commentary, Hostin said, "I'd love to give you an opportunity to perhaps change your position on what you said." Smith said, "I'm not changing a thing. I didn't stutter when I said that." So, okay, you want to stay loud and wrong? Well, you can call it loud and wrong all you want. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine. Wow, standing by that tirade where he said, "Respectfully, Senator, what the heck are you doing? Looking into the camera and telling military men and women to ignore the commander-in-chief? How dare you? How dare you do that?" Anyway, we don't need to keep going into that. I don't like to do a view segment if I don't have to, but I thought they're not used to that. As Joy Behar one time said, "We only invite Republicans on here, but they're too scared," which is laughable because of her great takeaway line. This is just an example of media real quick. But then when they even have a Democrat that they disagree with, they can't handle it. And since if you want to, just to mention, because we had I think we had one of these stories a day all week since we want to talk about the media. This coming from the Express out of the United Kingdom. Donald Trump falls asleep in public again as health fears soar. Quote, "He's not okay." I'm telling you, I honestly look at his schedule. I look at Marco Rubio. I look at J.D. Vance's schedule, and you see them at every event all day, all night, it seems like. I do not blame him. I go to a lot of meetings where there's times where I've got to catch myself to make sure that I don't fall asleep. So this idea that the media now, I guess for lack of a better word, cares about a commander-in-chief, his schedule, cares about the president's sleeping habits, after 4 years of no coverage. I don't want to keep belaboring this point because when we did earlier in the week, Scott Besant kind of stole our lines. I'm just kidding. Scott, if you're watching. But no, I mean, we've talked about it all week long. But just another headline to prove the bias in the media, solidifying that loss of credibility. There's our quick media updates because I know we have so many big issues to get to. Let's go through. All right, quick hit list, and then we're going to go and get on the major stories of the day. How's that when we return? Okay, so we'll go through a couple quick ones, and then we will get to the pipe bomb. We will get to P. Hegseth, and then some New York issues. It just seems like there's so much going on. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Yeah, hello. I'm really not sure if this is what you all do, but I really don't have anywhere else to turn.
Hi. I don't even know why I'm calling right now. I'm sorry. My thoughts are going a mile a minute.
My kids are out of state. My buddies from the Army are all gone now. I'm really alone.
I left the service last year. My mom just passed away a few months ago. I miss so much time with her. I keep getting calls about the bills, and I'm trying to get a job, but I feel so stuck.
Okay, ma'am. I'm glad you called.
Okay, sir. Let's stay on the line and walk through some things.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Can you help me?
Mom, Dad, we're going out.
Thank you.
Oh, look, they're playing chess.
What you got there?
Will you help my mom?
She's real sick, huh? Hey, crew, I'll give the first move to anyone who signs up to be an organ donor. How do you do it?
Easy. Just go to organdonor.gov.
You heard them, organdonor.gov.
More donors means more hope. Sign up at organdonor.gov.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam. Brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Steve writes in and says, good morning, Frank. Well, good morning, Steve. I guess you can't indict a ham sandwich in New York. If it is a Democrat, Letitia James wasn't able to be indicted, then how did they ever get Trump indicted? I guess I'm going to have to go out and get a mortgage, enlist my mom as my significant other, and change of status of the house, and have this be a precedent so I can't be convicted. Yeah, it is amazing. You raise a really great point there, Steve. I guess it just depends if it's a D or an R next to your name. All right, as I promised, a couple of quick hits, and then we're going to talk about the other issues of the day. A Harvard professor, remember when we talk about academia and what it is doing to the youth, a Harvard professor who got in a little bit of trouble after shooting in front of a Boston synagogue was detained by ICE and has agreed to voluntarily leave the United States. That's according to the Department of Homeland Security. Harvard Law School professor Carlos Portugal Gueva, a Brazilian national, was arrested back in October after he allegedly fired a BB gun outside a Boston area synagogue the day before Yom Kippur. Do you remember that story? We brought that to you at the time when we learned about the wackadoo excuses he was giving for why he did it. Hunting rats, remember? He pleaded guilty to illegal use of an air rifle, while his other charge of disturbing the peace, disorderly conduct, and vandalizing property were diminished. Diminished? Well, that too. Dismissed. The Harvard Crimson first reported that he was suspended by the university pending an investigation, with synagogue leaders noting in an email the shooting was not fueled by anti-Semitism. 2 weeks after the shooting, the Department of State revoked his temporary non-immigrant visa. Anyway, to make this story a little bit quicker, as I said, he has agreed after being detained by ICE to voluntarily leave the United States, that Harvard professor. Also, quickly, boom, no way to segue. Next, Representative Nancy Mace has introduced the FAIR Act to weed out fraud in SNAP. Of course, Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. FAIR stands for Food Assistance, Integrity, and Responsibility. In part, it would require something as simple as a photo ID on the EBT cards. It's not a bad idea. An emailed press release from Mace's office notes that there is currently little to no identity verification when a SNAP EBT card is used. Oh, yeah, think about how often we hear about these fraudulent use of it from stolen cards and like that in the news. It opens the door to card sharing, unauthorized purchases, stolen cards being exploited, and taxpayer dollars going to people who aren't legally eligible at all. Across the country, states are reporting massive losses from SNAP fraud and misuse. In just the first quarter of this year, more than $102 million in stolen or fraudulent benefits were approved. During the same period, states recorded over 226,000 fraudulent SNAP claims and 691,000 unauthorized transactions nationwide. So in order to fix that problem, Mace introduced the bill, which would first and foremost require that photo ID. The bill would also allow states to issue additional photo verification cards for households with multiple authorized users, all while requiring retailers to verify the photo on these cards before transactions are completed. According to the press release, accommodations would be made for caregivers, helping those who need assistance. If passed, the bill would give the U.S. Department of Agriculture a year and a half to update its regulations. So as we've talked a lot about SNAP, I thought I would pass that along to you. And in our final quick hits of breaking news, a dozen Republican lawmakers signed a letter in conjunction with Democrats supporting the extension of subsidies under the Affordable Care Act. What I guess allegedly, or I don't think that's the right word, but I guess what's led to the longest government shutdown in history. So now you have a dozen Republican lawmakers signing on to support the extension of the subsidies. It is titled the Common Ground 2025, a bipartisan healthcare framework. Now, I know there's been people that have been supportive of looking into fixing Obamacare, Affordable Care Act, but this is just to extend those COVID-era subsidies. I don't want to read the whole letter. I'm trying to find the list here. I thought I had the list of the dozen. No, it does not. I apologize. So I will try to get that list to you of the dozen Republican lawmakers that signed on to that bill when we come back from our next break, because I thought I had it in there. But, my apologies on that. All right. So before we take our next break, let's go through and grab your calendar. Let's go through some of the events. I have a few I can put up on screen, but let's go through some of the events that we have going on this weekend. We mentioned, again, that very important event by Steuben County Sheriff Jim Allard and the Toys for Tots Fill the Patrol Car and Coats for Kids. That is tomorrow at the Irwin and Hornell Walmart plazas from 10 a.m. till 12. Toys and children's coats will be collected. We also have White Christmas, which actually kicked off yesterday. We had the cast in, some of the cast, in on the program. They did a great job. Did anybody happen to catch it? Anybody watching the show? Did anybody catch opening night? I'd love to hear how it went. But you still have a few opportunities there to see Irvin Berling's White Christmas, the musical, presented by, of course, Corning Painting Post High School Drama Club. We thank them again for being on the program on Tuesday. Also, coming up tonight from our friends in Painted Post, it's a holiday celebration. And you see who's not only do you have Santa Claus there, you have kids' activities, But we've got our friend Doc Possum's going to be there. And I'll use that as an excuse to talk about the telethon in just a moment. But you know Doc Possum is great in sending us a couple tunes each year for the Salvation Army Telethon. Well, he's going to be there. So visit with Santa for photos and gifts for all kids. Enjoy holiday music along with family-friendly covers and Doc's originals. Pizza, hot chocolate, face painting, glitter tattoos, and more. That's at the Painted Post Fire Station tonight from 5:30 till 7:30. And one other event that I did not have time to put up on screen this morning, and I apologize, that is, and we've had Raphael Gregorian in on the program before, and he is presenting, his ballet theater is presenting The Nutcracker at the Clemens Center tomorrow. You can find out more at the Clemens Center website. And then for those who may miss it on the 6th, maybe are traveling to see family or friends, on the 7th, they'll be at the Forum Theater in Binghamton. So again, The Nutcracker with Raphael Gregorian's Ballet Theater coming up tomorrow at the Clemens Center. So which ones are you going to go to? Which ones are you going to do? But we mentioned Doc Possum. And Doc Possum is going to be a part of our amazing yearly tradition, which is the, frankly speaking, Salvation Army of Corning. I put campaign there. That sounds a little too official. It's our telethon. So those are a couple ways to give. We've got some people that have dropped off checks, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. That is very kind of you. I've been dropping off checks into the studio. You can mail it if you wanted to, but we're getting close. So the event is next Friday, a week from today. If you aren't aware, the goal is to raise $6,000 from Frankly Speaking, because we have a very generous donor that watches this program who is matching up to $6,000. So that means if you give $100, it's really like you're giving $200. And if we raise $6,000, that means that viewer will match $6,000. That means we'll make $12,000, becoming one of the biggest kettle pushes, probably the biggest, in Steuben County, in Corning, of the year. So we're going to have some special guests next Friday. We're already, I talked with Joe Barlow from the Crystal Chords yesterday. We've got great music, as we always do. I know people look forward to this every year. Great music from the Crystal Chords. We're going to have great music from Doc Possum that we always look forward to. And we're going to treat it like a normal show in the sense that we'll be taking your comments. If you want to wish any family members, anybody, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. But that is next Friday. So I know I've got that up on the screen for a long time, but we want to make sure that we reach that goal. So please, I don't care if you give $1. That's like you gave $2. Give what you can. I understand it's a trying time of year with gifts and some people in need, of course, and you want to know which areas to donate to. Well, I and full disclaimer, as chairman of the advisory board of the Salvation Army, what they do year-round, and they're so humble, you may not even be aware of it, but what they do all year and the hard work of helping our community, it really just, it amazes me every time. Every time I see the numbers at our board meetings, every time I see or hear the stories. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. That's why I'm pushing it so much, and that's why I appreciate everybody that's donated so far and will continue to donate. Okay, thank you for letting me get on my soapbox for a moment, but I am very passionate about the Salvation Army of Corning. When we come back, completely changing the topic, we're going to go to the DC pipe bomber. That's a quick story because we don't really have a lot of information on him yet. But we do have a couple things about comments from it. Then we'll talk about Hegseth, all that, and much more. So stay with us. We'll be right back. What time is it? Where are we at? There we go. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking.
Your tap water is delicious. I know, right? It's this Culligan Smart drinking water system. What do you think is going on in there?
I'm smelling a touch of chlorine.
Yeah, I'm detecting some PFAS.
I'm also getting notes of lead.
Perfection.
Sending it up.
Here we go.
Certified to reduce more than 70 contaminants. It's like having your own team of water experts. See the smart difference at Culligan.com.
What better start or end every day than relaxing in your very own Hesselson's hot tub? Massage therapy, relaxation, stress reliever, pain management, soothing muscles, or just spending time with a loved one. Hot water therapy really does make every day better. Hesselson's has been a part of this great community for over 70 years, still being locally owned and operated. So make the drive to Hesselson's and start making your path to a better life today. And after 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselsen's.
This is a collector consumer alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back. Broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Sorry, I cannot find the full list from the Common Ground 2025, a bipartisan healthcare framework. The dozen lawmakers that signed on to that. I wanted to pass it along to you, but I think it's just too new and they have not separated it in the articles yet. Okay. Comment from Steve. Steve writes in, even if they extend the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act, it's still not going to do a single thing for the individuals or families that are enrolling in health plans. Remember, I sell this stuff. Steve sells this stuff. It's not going to change the fact that a household that meets the minimum requirements is still able to afford it because the maximum out-of-pockets and deductibles have also shot up. All it does is put more money in the pockets of the insurance carriers, which is what politicians are in the back pocket of. Good point, Steve. There should be no extension of any subsidies until the insurance carriers bring down their own cost because they have not done anything to help assist people. There's also a new safe harbor rule that's been put in place that most people aren't aware of that your listeners also might want to know. If you report an income and you don't meet the minimum income level, if you also don't qualify for Medicaid, you will be forced to pay back every tax dollar from the subsidies that you receive. Is to try to remove over 6 million people and retrieve $23 billion that the insurance carriers are receiving because of waste, fraud, and abuse, trying to be saved through the tax dollars. Thank you, Steve. Oh, I got something special for you, everybody. We're going to have a Climate Fact Friday, Bob. Comment today. We're going to save that to the top of 7 o'clock hour. That's what we're going to do. Thank you. Can't wait to hear it. Can't wait to hear. Coming a little bit out of retirement. Appreciate it. And by the way, Climate Fact Friday, Bob, I saw your email this morning. I appreciate it. I can't wait to hear it. Okay. The FBI did arrest a man in the January 6th D.C. pipe bomber investigation. Of course, that has been a long time coming. The Bureau believes the man, 30-year-old Brian Cole Jr. from Woodbridge, Virginia, compiled bomb-making supplies for months before leaving the viable explosive devices outside of both Republican and Democrat headquarters in Washington, D.C. His arrest is a break in one of the biggest mysteries of the day. If Cole were to be convicted, it would end the probe that for years had failed to produce any lead as to who placed the bomb, both just a few blocks away from the U.S. Capitol. Pam Bondi saying, let me be clear, there was no new tip. There was no new witness, just good, diligent police work and prosecutorial work. He is facing 2 federal explosive charges. He's expected to appear before a federal judge in court. I believe that is today. Now, Kash Patel said it reveals how relentless the police work by the FBI was. Despite offering a $500,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of the person, no one came to claim that award. I mean, no one gave any new information, as Pam Bondi said. But what little we know about this guy, from what they are reporting in the news from his neighbors, he was kind of a loner, a quiet guy, so that may be the reason. This is a 5-year-old case. How do they crack it with no new tips? Well, Kash Patel said, the FBI examined every piece of information available, leveraged new technology, brought in experts from around the country, and methodically developed the evidence needed to nail this suspect. This breakthrough didn't come from the new tip. It came from relentless FBI work. Dan Bongino, the deputy FBI director, who Patel said spearheaded the investigation, gave credit to Trump for the case being cracked, saying this is what it's like when you work for a president who tells you to go get the bad guys and stop focusing on other extraneous things not related to law enforcement. We'll talk a little bit more about this when we return from break. I'll tell you how the media is responding, but we want to hear from our friend and Elmira native Judge Jeanine Pirro, who commented on it as well. And if you haven't seen by now, I want you to know what Jake Tapper from CNN had to say about the suspect. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Man, this hour is going fast. We'll be right back.
World Youth Clubs provides professional and technical assistance to all our affiliate clubs all around the world.
We already have 44 countries that are behind us providing safe spaces for kids, but there are 160 other countries we'd like to reach out to.
Yeah.
Right, Rod?
Exactly.
We need you to help fund the World Youth Clubs and make their dream come true.
We are the keepers of the wild, America's original and most invested conservationists. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving wildlife and the natural landscapes that define our nation. From rugged alpine ridgelines to peaceful tall grass prairies, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. Our funding has led to cleaner water, fresher air, and improved wildlife habitat. From abundant fish and waterfowl populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. So we're talking about the January 6th pipe bomber arrest that was a major story yesterday and will continue to be. Well, what we learned from Pam Bondi is that information, the evidence used to make the arrest was sitting at the FBI for 4 years. It was, as she put it, sitting there collecting dust under the Biden administration. The arrest raises questions about the lack of progress made by the Biden administration under FBI Director Christopher Wray and Attorney General Merrick Garland. Bondi said the Trump administration prioritized the investigation after a total lack of movement on this case in our nation's capital, which undermined the public trust of our enforcement agencies. This is Pam Bondi saying this cold case languished for 4 years until Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino came to the FBI. The FBI, along with U.S. Attorney Pirro and all of our prosecutors, have worked tirelessly for months sifting through evidence that had been sitting at the FBI with the Biden administration for 4 long years. The evidence was in the FBI's position, or was in possession, I should say, before Trump took office. There was no new tip, there was no new witness, just good, diligent police work and prosecutorial work. And Patel reiterated that as well. Pirro calls the suspected D.C. pipe bomber quiet and has a low-key personal life. This is a guy who's kind of has a low-key life. He lives with his mother, Pirro said. That's in reference to 30-year-old Brian Cole Jr. And we always like to quote Gene Pirro, a U.S. attorney for District of Columbia, Elmira native. He was always wearing his headphones. He would take his dog out. He'd go to the 7-Eleven. He was very low-key, low-profile. He's a quiet individual that you would never imagine could put a pipe bomb, put it together. Cell phone pings that connected with the defendant walking along the area with a video that we had. That was helpful. The explosives found hours later by law enforcement were determined by the FBI to be viable devices that could have been detonated, resulting in serious injury. But listen to Democrat Representative Dan Goldman. He says that the Biden FBI didn't mess up by not getting the pipe bomb suspect, but the dreadful Trump's FBI did. I have time. He said, I don't even think there are allegations or anything was mishandled. It's just the unfortunate reality is that the Department of Justice cannot help but make everything political. It's terrific if they got the pipe bomber. Excellent investigative work. They should be proud of that. But why does it have anything to do with Joe Biden? Why is everything chest thumping and this and that and that? Just do your job, do your job. But the problem is that in pretty much every other case, Kash Patel is not doing his job, which is why morale in the FBI is unbelievably low, why people are miserable there, and why they're doing such a poor job, because they're so focused on the politics of everything. They're not focused on the safety and security of the American people, and that is what is missing. That is what we're losing through the dreadful FBI. So apparently it's not Joe Biden's fault that that sit in a locker room, or evidence room, excuse me, for 4 years and nothing was done. Collecting dust, as Pam Bondi said. But the real problem is Kash Patel and the dreadful FBI. And he's the one saying you have to turn everything political? Boy, that's a great example of hypocrisy, isn't it? But one last thing on this before we talk about other issues in the next hour. Did you hear about Jake Tapper at CNN? He called the accused D.C. pipe bomber, Brian Cole, a, quote, white man. He made the cringeworthy gaffe, which I'm almost confused why they go out of their way, because this isn't the first time this has happened. And then they show Cole's picture, who is indeed black. His white man comment came 5:01 p.m. Around the same, at the time, CNN was the first outlet to publish a photo of Cole's face that originated from the suspect's mother's Instagram account. Viewers were left, needless to say, stunned. Benny Johnson saying you can't make this up. Another said Jake Tapper is sharp as a tack. Nothing gets past him. Dude's elite. And as we know in the past, this has happened numerous times throughout the years. So there you go. The diligent work of that dogged reporter, that dogged journalist, Jake Tapper. On that note, hour number 1 in the books. Hour number 2 coming up next.
I'm Marion Crawford. I've lived here for 70 years, but I do fine right here in my house, and I want to be here as long as I can be. And I feel comfortable knowing that if something happened to me, someone would know because of the cameras that are installed in various spots in my home. That has been a wonderful gift to me to be able to have that security and that support from Full Circle America, and that's what it's all about.
Toyota-thon! Discover holiday magic with a new Toyota. Take a 4Runner skiing.
Wow.
Sick. Pick out the perfect tree with the Tacoma.
Bingo.
Or find the best sledding spot with the Grand Highlander.
Whoa.
'Tis the season for Toyota-thon. Oh, Santa got my letter.
Right now, during Toyota-thon, you can lease a Tacoma for just $249 a month, or get 2.99% APR for a full 72 months on a new Tundra.
Toyota-thon is on.
Toyota, let's go places.
Having a safe home is essential to many aspects of our lives. From a sense of community and safety, to physical and mental health, to economic security and independence. Most homes in our communities are not accessible and are not designed to accommodate the changes that come with age, including the risk of falling.
Well, and here we are in hour number 2. Here on Frankly Speaking on WYDC TV, Big Fox. In this hour, we're going to be talking with Catherine Price from the Gaffer District. We're going to hear about Sparkle. That's coming up this weekend. I know I've thrown a lot of events at you. If you attend any of these events, whether it's going to Sparkle, whether it's dropping off toys for tots or jackets with the sheriff in Irwin or Hornell's Walmart, whether it's going to the Nutcracker, there you may not be able to take photos. But the Drama Club, Corner Painted Post Drama Club's White Christmas, which is happening this weekend, going to the Painted Post tonight, see Doc Possum and Santa. Any of these events that I've been mentioning, take some pictures, send them in. I'd love to see them. And if you'd give me the okay, I'd love to put them on the air. So please do that. that would be a lot of fun because this is a very, very busy weekend. I am sure I'm forgetting things to even mention, and if I am, I apologize. Also, I mentioned it earlier, we got a Climate Fact Friday Bob comment, but real quickly, just kicking off this hour, I wanted to highlight a couple things. Next week, on Monday, we're going to be talking with Mickey Bell. He's a comedian who's going to be in Elmira to support the Elmira chapter, if you will, of the Salvation Army. So that will be on Monday. We'll learn all about that. Then on Tuesday, I think we're going to take a little lull. I think it's going to be just you and me getting ready for the telethon, chatting, having a good time. Then Wednesday, it's Sheriff Jim Allard. We're going to find out how that Toys for Tots goes this weekend. So that's the sheriff on Wednesday. Thursday, former congressman, current assemblyman, Joe Sempolinski. So we got back-to-back fan favorites. That's going to be great. And then on Friday, because we're making a special week next week, on Friday, the Salvation Army Telethon, which I will continue to shamelessly plug nonstop. Please go ahead and donate. But that's Friday. You won't want to miss that. You will be in the Christmas spirit when it's all over. We're going to have special guests, but a lot of great music. The focus is going to be on the music and doing the most good by raising funds for the Salvation Army of Corning. All right, there we go. That's one way to kick off the second hour. The best way to kick off the second hour is from Climate Fact Friday Bob, who says, "Good day to all. I would like to discuss the difference between weather and climate change, because it seems that some media and experts are still not clear about these facts. Day-to-day weather events is not climate change. The World Meteorological Society defines climate change as a long-term trends in specific areas over long periods of time, minimum of 30 years. Regions of the world are divided into areas such as tundra or tropical rainforest. Of course, the rainforest is very wet and rainy, and very warm tundra is very dry and cold. Events such as drought, thunderstorms, and localized flooding is not climate change, and it's not because of climate change. A good example would be the hurricane season this year. There may have been many named storms which were just tropical anomalies, but there were very few that actually caused any destruction. I believe there were only 2 that actually caused destruction. For some reason, the media still wants to create the doomsday effect of climate change. Everyone, please have a safe and great weekend. Go Bills. Well, thank you, Climate Fact Friday Bob, and I thank you for the music. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. Can't wait. I appreciate that. Good to have you texting in. We all look forward to it. All right, we're going to talk about, well, let's talk about it now. Let's talk about Pete Hegseth first. Breaking last night, the U.S. military sank another suspected drug vessel in the Pacific Ocean yesterday, marking the 22nd strike. That's a 22nd strike under the Trump administration's Operation Southern Spear. And the first since War Secretary Pete Hegseth was accused of ordering survivors of a boat bombing be killed. The latest lethal strike killed 4 male narco-terrorists traveling on a vessel operated by a designated terrorist organization in international waters, according to U.S. Southern Command. Intelligence confirmed that the vessel was carrying illicit narcotics and transiting it along a known narco-trafficking route in the Eastern Pacific. So that's your first update. What we learned, according to CNN, so take it with a grain of salt, survivors clinging to this is the one that they were referencing in the last piece, where Pete Hegseth is under fire by the media, by Democrats, even some of his own colleagues, or Republicans, I should say. Survivors clinging to the capsized boat didn't radio for backup. Admiral overseeing the double tap strike tells lawmakers. Okay, is that just accepted is that the terminology, double tap strike? Admiral Frank Mitch Bradley acknowledged that the 2 survivors of the military's initial strike were in no position to make a distress call. Bradley was in charge of Joint Special Operations Command at the time of the strike and was the top military officer directing the attack. Well, so many comments coming in. Keep those comments coming in. I'm sorry. Ultimately, Bradley told lawmakers he ordered a second strike to destroy the remains of the vessel, killing the 2 survivors on the grounds that it appeared that part of the vessel remained afloat because it still held cocaine. The survivors could hypothetically have floated to safety, been rescued, and carried on with trafficking the drugs, the logic went. So kind of breaking down that narrative that Pete Hegseth, and we can go through the whole history of that. Yes, if you're wondering, yes, my chair is sinking. I'm not getting shorter. I don't know why it only does this during live broadcasts and not throughout the day. Now lawmakers are split after viewing the boat strike video. Okay. A top Democrat called the video one of the most troubling things he has seen as a lawmaker. That's Connecticut Democrat Representative Jim Hines. Any American who sees this video that I saw will see the United States military attacking shipwrecked sailors. Ooh, sailors. Bad guys, but attacking shipwrecked sailors. Yes, they were carrying drugs. They were not in the position to continue their mission in any way. Now, Republican Representative Rick Crawford of Arkansas said that he thought the second strike was justified. Tom Cotton called the strike entirely lawful and needful. Cotton telling reporters, just like you would blow up a boat off the Somali coast or the Yemeni coast, and you'd come back and strike it again if it still had terrorists and it still had explosives or missiles, Admiral Bradley and Secretary Hegseth did exactly what we'd expect them to do. In what has been the most significant congressional scrutiny of President Trump's military campaign in the Caribbean so far, Admiral Frank Mitch Bradley was on Capitol Hill on Thursday for a round robin of private meetings with lawmakers of both parties to defend the secondary strike on that ship. Most Republicans have signaled support for the overall campaign, which has killed more than 80 people and which a broad range of outside legal experts have argued is likely unlawful. Thank you, CNN. So that is where we're at with this. I don't really want to go too much further with this. Jim Himes from Connecticut, Democrat from Connecticut, was asked by Jake Tapper, so you are saying war crime was committed? He said, well, I want to be careful with my language here. We didn't get the audio, but that's sure what it looked like to me. And again, I don't want to get into the details, but I want you to imagine two individuals clinging to wreckage in the middle of a vast ocean without any tools, without any weapons. Look, if this guy had an AK-47 or an RPG or was, calling in airstrikes or anything else, it would be a totally different thing. What this boils down to, and we're going to talk about it when we come back, because I really got to fix this chair. Yes, I appreciate some of the comments coming in. Is that noticeable? Huh? Yeah, it gets a little ridiculous. I'll fix it during break because I'm like completely on the ground at this point. We're going to talk just one more thing about Venezuela. Then when we come back, then we've got to get to New York issues. We cannot run out of time when I tell you what the woman accused of spying for China that worked for Hochul and worked for Cuomo, what she had to say about the two. Then we got some other New York State issues as well. So stay with us. We'll be right back. You'll see with the roof camera. You'll see just how ridiculous this looks. Stay with us.
And remember, you can call me anytime.
Anytime?
Oh, this is my client.
Hello!
Injury attorney William Mattar always puts his clients first.
I gotta take this.
There you go.
So, I gotta take this.
He's recovered millions for injured accident victims.
Easy out, easy out. Ooh, it's mine.
This is William.
Hurt in a car? Call William Mattar.
F National was born from a simple idea. Instead of giving hungry people a cup of milk, why not give them a cow? 80 years later, this idea has helped more than 46 million families around the world. With the right tools and practices, people can produce their own food, earn better income, and build a brighter future for themselves and our planet. It's not a handout, it's a path out of poverty, the chance for an education, better nutrition, and an opportunity to thrive. Learn more at heifer.org.
Small businesses are the heart of America. Like you, these entrepreneurs started out with a dream and the drive to build a better life. If you have a small business idea to grow or challenge to face, you don't have to go it alone. Since 1964, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses. Today, they are the nation's largest nonprofit source of expert mentoring, resources, and education. Whether you're starting out, building back, or have worked at it for years, SCORE will match you with specialized mentors. Our thousands of volunteers provide the guidance and connections you need for free. Your success is waiting. SCORE is ready to help. Find a mentor today at SCORE.org.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Let's go to some viewer comments. Comment from the first viewer. Good, the 22nd strike yesterday. We need 22 more. Yes, the 22nd strike on a drug trafficking boat yesterday. We're going to continue that topic in just a moment. Comment from a different viewer. Frank, tell your administration you need a new chair for Christmas. This, I like that this is my administration. It makes it sound so fancy, so official. This is a new chair, and I swear it only happens during the show. Sit here all day, never have a problem. So we'll keep it for now. Okay, David Hersani, I think, has a very good point on this, and we brought up the hypocrisy on the Venezuela stances, if you will, by Democrats. Democrat Senator Tim Kaine promises he'll refile a war powers resolution in the Senate demanding President Trump ask for congressional approval before launching any military strikes against Venezuela. And this is so weird because this puts so many Democrats, I don't know how else you can look at this, on the side of the drug traffickers. But I'll continue. A similar bill failed by a 49-51 vote in the Senate last month. Why does the bill specify Trump and Venezuela? For the same reason a similar bill in June specified Trump and Iran. Democrats aren't seriously concerned about constitutional war powers. They are grandstanding. After all, there's no need for any resolution or bills. Keep this in mind. This is what they're doing with Pete Hegseth as well. This grandstanding, this looking for attention. It's why the one representative called for an impeachment of Hegseth. It's all about the grandstanding. It's about the public relations. We already have Article 1 of the Constitution, which confers the power to declare war with Congress and no one else. There's no exemption for either party in that text. But we also have the War Powers Resolution. In 1973, Congress, which at the time still occasionally defended its constitutional role, overrode President Richard Nixon's veto and passed a law limiting the president's ability to use military force without congressional consent. The executive branch was now theoretically obliged to consult with Congress within 48 hours of an attack or as soon as there was imminent involvement. The ensuing military action would be limited to 60 or 90 days unless Congress authorized it. Virtually every White House ignores this. Presidents have been trying to circumvent Congress on the issue of war since President Thomas Jefferson sent the American Navy to deal with Islamic pirates who were enslaving Americans and disrupting trade. Needless to say, war was only becoming more kinetic and complex since then, so presidents have been given lots of leeway to react to fluid situations. All presidents felt the need, at least to justify military action with a patina of constitutional reasoning. Until 2011, that is, when then President Barack Obama authorized military strikes on Libya's air defense to protect Islamic rebels from attack. Obama did something new. He informed Congress that his authority for military action was derived from a mandate of the United Nations Security Council. While most presidents circumvented the Constitution, the notion that an international organization, not to mention one with permanent seats for communist China and totalitarian Russia, had any authority to dictate American military deployment was a direct attack on U.S. self-determination. Yet Democrat senators praised Obama's Libya campaign as cautious and thoughtful. Partisans on both sides only pretend to care about war powers when it's convenient. Increasingly, this is a problem on all fronts of constitutional governance. Now, Trump has a strong case to make for stemming the influx of illicit drugs coming from Latin America. I don't have to go through all that. If there's good cause to be made striking them, Congress should see the evidence. Because once guided missiles start making a regular appearance, we are engaged in real-world hostilities. And if a foreign nation is enabling or inciting, it's completely reasonable for the United States to retaliate. Trump has also threatened to close Venezuelan airspace, an act of war, and has reportedly told the nation's strongman, Nicolas Maduro, to leave the country and allow for regime change. Yes, telling him to get out quickly. Now, perhaps he's just trying to scare Maduro into curbing the narco traffickers, or perhaps he means to destroy the country's production facilities and drug trafficking routes. Either would also be war. Conflicts are messy and unpredictable, and they often cross administrations. If Trump wants open-end permission to deal with Latin American drug cartels, he should go to Congress and let Democrats either vote it down or buy in. Not only would it be beneficial politically, it would also reassert some semblance of constitutional order. Don't get me wrong, though. I'm not living in a fantastical world where I believe my president will relinquish power. At this point, demanding politicians abide by constitutional norms is a lost cause. But war powers, they're already dead. They've been dead for a long time, according to David Hersani, highlighting the hypocrisy there. Okay. Comment from a viewer before we get to other comments from viewers. Where is it here? Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. All the left rhetoric about double-tapping drug smugglers is purely more of the same continuing political Trump administration bash mining. If not, then perhaps the obvious question to ask is, whose side is the radical left on? The American people or the criminals responsible for the deaths of thousands of U.S. citizens? In Jack's observations here, the objection from the left could implicate themselves as collaborators with a drug cartel by trying to distance themselves in order to save face with them. Thank you, Jack. We have a couple of other comments from viewers, but we're going to read those after we get back. We've got an interview with the Gaffer District, so you can learn all about upcoming Sparkle, but I don't think I can get to these. I can't get to these comments. I will when we return after, not this break, but the next break. Okay, I'm going to leave you with this to think about before we go to break. So you'll have time to think about this as we talk to the Gaffer District about Sparkle. And then we're going to talk even more New York State issues. We've talked numerous times about Linda Sun. Very few are, but she is the alleged, or she's accused of spying for China while working for former Governor Cuomo, governor at the time, and now Governor Hochul. She has worked for, and she was a senior staffer in the Hochul administration. Here we go. A former top New York State official accused of spying for China once remarked that New York Governor Kathy Hochul was, quote, much more obedient than former Governor Andrew Cuomo. I think Stefanik, at least Stefanik has a potential political ad here. What do you think? Linda Sun made the remark after she convinced Hochul, who served as Cuomo's lieutenant governor at the time, to film a Lunar New Year video touting China's New York consulate. This is what the New York Post is reporting, citing evidence presented at Sun's corruption trial. Quote, she is much more obedient than the governor, Sun wrote to China consular official Liu Li in a January 25th, 2021 message shown to jurors in a Brooklyn federal court. She allegedly wrote, quote, the deputy governor listens to me more than the governor does. Well, that's probably why she rose to the ranks even higher. She was already high up in Cuomo's administration, but even higher in Hochul's. Chinese officials had asked for Cuomo to film the video, but Sun told them she would likely get Hochul to participate instead. Let me ask, but likely the lieutenant governor can probably do it. In the 2-minute video, Hochul wishes everyone a happy Lunar New Year, so the video is out there, and talks about the privilege of working with the Chinese American community and the Chinese consular's office. Sun, who has also served under Hochul, is charged with violating and conspiring to violate the Foreign Agents Registration Act, visa fraud, alien smuggling, and money laundering conspiracy. Now, after this came out, I know I'm running late. After it came out that Miss Sun, Linda Sun, said that Hochul, quote, she is much more obedient than the governor at the time would have been Cuomo. Elise Stefanik reacted in a statement that she sent to Fox News. Elise Stefanik, of course, representative currently, has announced that she is running for governor against Kathy Hochul. Elise Stefanik saying, quote, the worst governor in America, Kathy Hochul, not only bent the knee to the radical socialist, but is also fully compromised by the Communist Chinese Party. Hochul is the worst governor in America for New Yorkers, but the most obedient for the Communist Chinese Party. I have a sterling record standing up against Communist China, and there will be no spies infiltrating our state government when we save New York. So again, as we go to break, think about your comments that Governor Hochul is much more obedient than the governor, so much more obedient than Cuomo. All right. I told you we had a big story coming out of New York this morning. We have other stories about Hochul as well. Stay with us. When we come back, we're going to hear from the Gaffer District. All excited for Sparkle on Saturday. Stay with us. We will be right back.
You don't have time to go to the gym? The health club is not an option? Come to Hesselson today and see why swim spas and fitness systems can fit into anyone's yard and budget. 12-foot, 14-foot, 15-foot, 18-foot dual temperature hot tub and swim spas are all on display in Hesselson's indoor and outdoor showroom. Try before you buy. 0% interest-free financing options are available on every Hesselson swim spa. Swim and exercise year-round and start making every day better. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Help the Bend Senior Services Fund continue its mission. Donate now.
But I do fine right here in my house, and I want to be here as long as I can be. And I feel comfortable knowing that if something happened to me, someone would know because of the cameras that are installed in various spots in my home. That has been a wonderful gift to me to be able to have that security and that support from Full Circle America, and that's what it's all about.
Small businesses are the heart of America. Like you, these entrepreneurs started out with a dream and the drive to build a better life. If you have a small business idea to grow or challenge to face, you don't have to go it alone. Since 1964, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses. Today, they are the nation's largest nonprofit source of expert mentoring, resources, and education. Whether you're starting out, building back, or have worked at it for years, SCORE will match you with specialized mentors. Our thousands of volunteers provide the guidance and connections you need for free. Your success is waiting. SCORE is ready to help. Find a mentor today at SCORE.org.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Hakem. We are broadcasting from the Hesselson studio, and it's time to talk Sparkle. Before that, we have not spoken since Harvest Fest.
We have not.
You've done a lot since Harvest Fest.
I have.
How's it going?
Really, really good.
Yeah.
I love it here. It's such a great community. And we've really had the opportunity. I've been in a great position coming in to make some changes right away that have been really fun.
Has anything surprised you?
Yes.
How many activities you pack in like 2 months?
Yes. It's been an event, cleanup, an event, and so that's been a lot of fun. Surprises, though, I would say. The community engagement. So, and everybody reaching out to me. It's been like, I thought it was good by Harvest, but boy, like all the different between the chamber and CABA, the business association. Everybody's just been so great, and Explore Steuben welcoming me.
Oh yeah,
getting me all up to speed as fast as we can.
That's wonderful.
It's really good.
And now you're here at Crystal City Christmas time, and I hear the Parade of Lights went great.
It was really good. We had a fantastic turnout. We had over 50 floats. Again, First Heritage Federal Credit Union is our presenting sponsor for all of the Crystal City Christmas activities. So they wear our Grand Marshal for the parade, and they did a great job with their float and their marching group. And lots of people handing out candy. The kids were all so excited, and we had the issues that you worry about, we didn't have any of those.
That's wonderful.
Which is really, really great. So not only did it look great, but from the logistics side of it, it was really great too.
Well, from the Christmas aspect to it, with the snow that we got earlier in the week, the snowing behind you now, it does get you in the Christmas spirit as you go by the Christmas tree. And of course, we have to mention the full lighting of the street. Yeah. Welcome back, right? So many people have said.
We're so
What's the
excited
reaction
about that. It's been so positive. When I first started, overwhelmingly, that's the one thing that everyone talked to me about was they were really disappointed with the trees. And unfortunately, the trees just cost a lot of money. It's very expensive, and the way it's been set up is not sustainable. And, Colleen, the previous executive director, did the very best that she could with what she had to work with. And I just, I guess, was in the right place at the right time and was able to make a little magic.
And jump in. And I know that they're doing, and I think it's a good idea. People want to have the lights, and I totally get it. Help along, like put a little skin in the game, so to speak, and you can donate.
Exactly. So our investment this year to bring all the lights back was $60,000, and so that was our goal. To have the lights for the 5-year cycle. So a little bit of technical information,
that's okay.
right? So you have to wrap the trees with the lights, and every 4 to 5 years you have to cut the lights out because the trees have grown. Yeah. And you have to trim the trees. And to trim the trees, get the lights up, take the lights down, and fix anything that breaks in between, including all the electrical issues, it ends up costing about $187,000 over that time period.
I don't think people realize that.
No. And I mean, some of that, of course, COVID. Prices have gone up. Tariffs have been have affected us, but so we pulled money from other locations and then reached out to the community to ask for help. And you can find it, all the information about it on our website. It lays out what we have to do to take care of the trees, how much it costs, and we've raised almost over half of what we were looking for. So our goal this year was $60,000, and we are at $40,000
That's
right
wonderful.
now, which is amazing.
Yes, and I think a lot of people haven't heard. First of all, they haven't seen the numbers in the past to see how much it costs, because most of the time when you have conversations about it, that's not the first thing that comes up. But also, I'm not sure if they've seen all the fundraising kind of ask, and so I think it's good to spread the word on it, because I do think people want it so bad they want to invest.
Yes, absolutely. And if you have a business, it's a great thing for your business, because if you adopt a tree, which is how we've set it up, is to adopt a tree. If you adopt a tree, then you get your advertising up throughout Corning and on our website about your business adopting the tree for 4 more years.
Great idea.
So, which is a wonderful thing.
Well, I think it's great to have it back, especially if someone works early in the morning and it's so dark. It's so nice to drive down the street with the light snow, not the heavy snow we had the other day, but the light snow. It's very nice.
And the other thing that we're going to do this year that we haven't done in the past is we're going to keep the trees lit for January and February.
Oh, good.
It gets so dismal by the end of January.
Yes, it sure does.
And everything stays gray. And if you have to be out and it's dark at 4 o'clock, the trees are nice.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And it's something special, because I know way years past, it would keep it, I think, year-round, and that probably got extensive. But there is something very nice about it when it's dark, to have the lights on the street.
Yes.
But also, we kind of glanced over it, but what a beautiful tree this year.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it turned out wonderful.
It did. Yeah. We're so lucky. The trees, both this tree and the tree in Bridge Street, were donated to us. So, we just have to put the lights on and get it all set up.
Yeah.
And then everyone gets to enjoy it.
This is why we are such a great Christmas location.
We really are.
We're lucky.
It's magical. So I think I told you this last time, but one of the reasons that I moved here was that I was here in 2020 during Sparkle, and all the trees were lit, and I was here at the Quincy Exchange right across the street from Centerway Square, and I thought, wow, what is this place? This is amazing. And I love the holidays, so it was perfect.
It's special. And how's the planning going for arguably the biggest event in Corning every year, Sparkle?
So right now we just have planning's done. We just have a few logistical things to take care of to make sure that we are all set and ready to go Saturday morning. So the streets close at 2 o'clock, but our team gets here around 7:30 to start, and we're getting ready to make merry.
Yes, I like it. If someone's never been before, what would you recommend other than dress warm?
Yes. Definitely dress warmly, but try and make it all the way through all 5 blocks.
Yeah.
If you start at the Radisson, that's where we're going to have our fire spinners. And then we have live music at Merritt's Music. We'll have live music in Centerway Square. We'll have a magician at Val Reap Fountain. And
all the way,
and then at the far end, especially if you have small children, we are going to have a train.
Oh, perfect.
The 5th block there, just before you hit Bridge Street, is going to have a nice train for all the kids to ride.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm sure it's going to be great as always. But like I said, dress warm. Unless I've never heard of a warm sparkle. Someone's going to probably correct me on that, but I don't remember there ever being a warm sparkle.
No, and it's supposed to snow a little bit, so it should just be perfect. Like it is now, just enough to make it.
Bring your cameras or bring your phones. I should say.
Yes.
So, what are you personally looking forward to the most during Sparkle? Before we go,
I want to see it all.
Yeah.
Usually I get
take it all in.
Usually I have to be like at the info tent or manning
something. Yeah.
But this time they've freed me up, so I'll be able to go and experience everything from all 5 blocks myself.
Wow, that's
and
wonderful.
Visit with all of our merchants.
Well,
I love it.
Well, I'm wishing you the best of luck because I'm sure it'll go fine.
We don't need luck.
No, you don't need luck. You got it. So let's talk again soon.
Yes.
Let's catch up. We can't wait that long between Harvest and Sparkle, okay?
Agreed.
All right. Thanks for being with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. Stay with us.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
Alcoholics Anonymous. For more information, visit aa.org.
There's a place where veteran stories, the fabric of our nation's past, serve the future. Now your experiences can be an invaluable resource, a treasured piece of an ever-growing collection. Share your memories with us at the Library of Congress Veterans History Project, where the experiences of U.S. military veterans are preserved. You'll help inform the next generation of students, scholars, researchers, and veterans too. To submit your stories, photographs, and other military documents, visit loc.gov/vets today.
Having a safe home is essential to many aspects of our lives. From a sense of community and safety, to physical and mental health, to economic security and independence. Most homes in our communities are not accessible and are not designed to accommodate the changes that come with age, including the risk of falling. The Older Adults Home Modification Program helps reduce the risk of falls, improves safety, and increases accessibility and independence. Through this program, Rebuilding Together works with older adults to provide no-cost preventative home repairs so our neighbors can safely age in place in the homes and communities they love. To learn more, visit rebuildingtogether.org/safeathome.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. We got some viewer comments coming in, but we thank Catherine Price from the Gaffer District for telling us all about Spark. I know I mentioned a lot of events coming up this weekend. If you are attending any, I would love to have you take some photos, send them in, and if you give us the go-ahead, we'd love to put them on the air. Also, don't forget to our friends in Hornell this weekend, if you're free, if you're out Christmas shopping, doing some chores, or if you're just sitting around your radio. I'll be on the Pulse with Mayor John Buckley. We always look forward to that. It's going to be a fun one. So it's on Saturday at 1 or Sunday at 1, and that's at WLEA. So make sure you tune in for that. All right, there's a little housekeeping. Let's go to some viewer comments. Good morning, Frank. If I was floating in the ocean in a boat with a hole in it, maybe a missile would be a better way to go. Just thinking out loud. Well, on a completely different comment than that, on the other side of the coin, Frank, good morning. Well, good morning to you. Correct me if I'm wrong, in the past, our Navy and Coast Guard have hunted down these drug boats with helicopters and 50 caliber machine guns by shooting out the engines on the boats, which disable them, doesn't kill anyone, and allowing our armed services to confiscate the drugs if there are any on the boat. Why didn't the U.S. government follow this procedure? It seems much less expensive and more humane. I guess I don't have an answer for you on that. I think this became the kind of standard operating procedure when these drug traffickers were designated terrorist organizations. I think that's probably where things changed, but I don't think that at the same time answers your question. Ken writes in, our politics is in such a sad state. Instead of working to help the American people, politicians spend most of their time trying to demonize the other side to get reelected and to write laws to enrich themselves. The Democrats are worse than the Republicans, but some Republicans are also guilty. On the drug boat strikes, the Dems are trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. They were silent when Obama killed women and children at a wedding without congressional approval. Thank you, Ken. We were talking New York State issues. We were mentioning the alleged spy that worked for Governor Hochul, saying in an email that Hochul at the time, as lieutenant governor, was much more obedient than Cuomo. That was her term. But since we're talking about New York State issues, and we're going to talk about Hochul more here in a second, but I wanted to pass this along to you. Senator Tom O'Mara and Assemblyman Joe Sempolinski are holding a community meeting in Steuben County on Thursday. Boy, Joe Sempolinski is going to have a busy day. He's going to be at a town hall, and then but before that, he's going to be right here on Frankly Speaking. So State Senator Tom O'Mara and Assemblyman Joe Sempolinski will be holding a town hall in Rexville. I know it's a little drive, but I wanted to pass it along to you. That'll be at the West Union Fire Hall beginning at 6 p.m. So there you are. Okay, so Governor Hochul is now open to hiking business taxes after she's been bullied from the left. But according to Von Golden Hallie Brown, she's blaming Trump. Hochul has faced taunts of chants of tax the rich from liberals looking to push her in line with the Democrat Socialists of America, which we're going to talk about that organization here in just a moment. And as a matter of fact, this is a heavy topic that we discussed with Mayor Buckley. And we know some of Mom Donnie's wish lists. Hochul said, so people say that there's conversation around taxes related to a recent election. It's not the recent election. It was the 2024 election when Donald Trump took office and has now created the chaos where we don't have a clear line of sight into what is going to come at us. I'll take a fist in the air bump as a wave. That gentleman that just walked by. She claimed the need for more revenue and budget struggles was a result of the federal administration, despite having overseen a 22% increase in state spending. Hochul said, we have additional expenses because of Donald Trump, not because of anything else, and that's where I have to be able to have the flexibility to manage. I don't have the clarity of seeing what is happening next year with the Trump administration. Now, this comes after she said, and I mentioned this quote to you yesterday, I'm not raising income taxes because I believe that we want to make sure that New York is more affordable for everyone. I want people who are successful to keep creating the jobs and investing here. But we have to look at other revenue sources. This year's state budget is on track to reach $259 billion as of the latest projections, which were available just last month. Hochul's budget office estimated that New York would be out about $4 billion a year beginning in 2027 as a result of Obamacare subsidies being cut and other effects of Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, which passed in July. But many people believe that this has to do with being up for re-election against a very tough opponent in Elise Stefanik. So she sees some type of, well, there's two ways to look at it. She doesn't want to be challenged in a primary by a Democrat Socialist of America candidate because she sees what, in her mind anyway, this rise in this kind of far left enthusiasm that maybe the Mom Donnie effect could lead to her having a very tough, difficult primary. There's also the side that she wants that support, which she's not going to get, because remember, we've talked about this in the past. When it comes to Democrat Socialists of America, you can't do 99%. You have to be 100%, and I'm going to give you an example of that in just a second. You have to be 100% in line with what they demand, okay? So she's in a losing battle right now, and that's why, and we've talked about it numerous times with Hochul, she's just not there to that level. She was picked by Andrew Cuomo to be his lieutenant governor because she was to never be governor. Keep that in mind. And now she's there, and we're seeing her try to play the political game. She's already been chastised by Nancy Pelosi back her last election because she just doesn't have the political wherewithal. For example, endorsing Mamdani and then not being endorsed by Mamdani. She, in this instance, she is in between a rock and a hard place with the Democrat Socialists of America. And to prove that point, the city Democrat Socialists of America issued a rallying cry for its members. Now, this is in New York City, but to infiltrate parent groups and community groups as they fight to push their agenda through government enemies, including, on that list, Governor Kathy Hochul. Is this an early warning that she could be primary? Now, I know she already has a primary challenger, her Lieutenant Governor Delgado, but many people see that as a very, very long shot campaign. But still, it's going to cost some money. It's going to take some of her time. But she would have a much bigger struggle against Democrat Socialists of America because that candidate would receive a lot of attention because people would be curious to see if it would be the Mamdani effect. So the newly emboldened, that's a perfect word for them, local chapter of the far-left Democrat Socialists of America is pushing its members in a takeover of lower-level government entities to supercharge their far-left policies under the new face of the movement, Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. Quote, we must plug Zohran organizers and supporters into lower-level city institutions en masse, said the co-chair. New York City has hundreds of small semi-governmental bodies that are typically ceded to less progressive forces, such as community boards and parent-teacher associations and community education councils. Continued the manifesto, so they want to infiltrate, in their words, everywhere. They urged the nearly 12,000 members, 12,000 members, as well as other Mamdani supporters to take advantage of volunteer spots at libraries and parks if they can't nab a city seat. We have the opportunity to create a sense of mass ownership over the city and build support for Zohran's agenda from the bottom of city government to the top. There will certainly still be enemies. Keep this. This is the quote that I want you to take away. Quote, there will certainly still be enemies to pressure both at the city and state levels. Governor Kathy Hochul is certainly not excited to implement the Mamdani agenda, but mobilizing and preparing lower levels of government to support and enact policy goals from the top is different than pressuring high-level decision makers. So on the, if you will, the enemies list, Governor Hochul. Governor Hochul endorsing Mamdani. And again, I think this is a big red flag if you're Hochul. He never endorsed her. Now, I know her excuse is he's waiting for the right moment when we tell him to. I'll see it I'll believe it when I see it. But I think that is could be a big takeaway that she may have, could be wrong, the decision has to be made very quickly, but she may have a primary challenger from, as they said, the newly emboldened DSA. Now, we have to take a break, and then I have just a couple of other quick things about Governor Hochul. And we have quite a few other things to get to. And I see some comments coming in, so stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, we will be right back.
An albino baby buffalo was born.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bust.
Thousands lined the pier at Seneca Harbor. Race weekend brought thousands to Watkins Glen International.
Hundreds and horseheads joined other cities around the country on Saturday for the No Kings protest.
Day one of the National Glider Competition. Severe flooding has caused major disruptions in parts of Steuben County.
Throughout the year, prison reform has become a priority around New York State.
Since 2010, Valley City Insurance Services has been your hometown insurance provider. We're small enough to give you the attention you deserve, but large enough to provide you with access to the nation's top insurance companies. The staff at Valley City Insurance Services will help you find the right plan for your individual needs, whether it's auto and home insurance, life insurance, health insurance, or business coverage. Valley City Insurance Services, Water Street in Elmira. Visit us at ValicityINS.com.
This is a collector consumer alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. We mentioned the big event going on tomorrow. Well, there's a lot of big events going on tomorrow, but we mentioned specifically with the Gaffer District, Sparkle. And I don't want you to forget another fun event coming up that's a yearly tradition. Coming up Monday and Tuesday, it is the big challenge, the Corning City Republicans v. the Democrats, as they compete in the 17th annual bell ringing challenge for the Corning Salvation Army. It will be held throughout the day. Monday, Democrats take the kettle from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. And then on Tuesday, the Republicans from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. And of course, as you all know, it is a friendly competition, but keep some of that loose change in your pocket for the day that you deem most important. Monday, Democrats. Tuesday, Republicans. It's that fun yearly challenge. What I think it's 17th year in existence, and we've had fun with it from the very beginning. So there we are. All right, comment from a viewer. Ken writes in, Sun had it correct, and that's Linda Sun. That is the alleged Chinese spy that worked for Governor Cuomo. Now former Governor Cuomo, but then and now Governor Hochul worked for both. Sun said that Hochul was more obedient than Cuomo. Ken writes in, Sun had it correct. Hochul is merely a puppet that does and says what she is told. But I guess until Elise wins the governorship, we should look at the silver lining. We could have had a governor like Newsom, Pritzker, or Walz. Thank you very much. But listen to the New York, kind of to your point, Ken, the New York Post editorial board said, so it begins, Governor Hochul is edging her way to yet another flip-flop in a career that's one long string of them. And it really is the case. A lot of flip-flopping throughout her career. One is, we don't have time to list them all. I don't want to get on a tangent. This time, preparing for a tax hike she knows will be bad for New York, but could save her political skin. The overriding goal for our principal poor governor, appeasing Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani and his socialist allies, lest they oust her in next year's primary or support a general election third-party candidate. So I didn't even think of the level of third-party candidate. That would hurt her arguably more than a primary, unless that candidate that they got to primary her did have that whatever star power, if you will, though I still think it's a perfect storm of what happened in the city, but the media would say star power of Mamdani. So she is concerned about a primary or third-party challenger. Again, huge red flag. Remember that Mamdani has not endorsed her. Hochul first made the statewide spotlight as a county clerk crusading against driver's licenses for illegal immigrants. These days, her Department of Motor Vehicles hands them out like candy, not even requiring a first name on a commercial license. What a great point. Now, I did not remember that's how she got into the spotlight as a county clerk crusading against driver's licenses for illegal immigrants. So they are going through the list of some of her most famous flip-flops. Now the self-described staunch capitalist, and remember, the media calls her very often a moderate. Keep this in mind. Is preparing to hike corporate tax rates to fund Mamdani's planned $10 billion of first-year freebies. Back in June, she declared, I'm not raising taxes at a time where affordability is the big issue. Yet, as December opens, she's saying, I'm not raising, quote, income taxes because I believe we want to make sure that New York is more affordable for everybody, and I want people who are successful to keep creating the jobs and investing here. By February, she may be backing off on income taxes too, for all we know. As for affordability, corporations pass tax hikes onto the consumers via higher prices, or they pick up and leave for friendlier locations, Florida, Texas, Tennessee, taking all their tax payments and their employees' salaries with them. And unfortunately, we've seen this. And of course, plenty more just never come to New York. And we've talked about that, that there's no real way to measure it. But is New York even considered on a company's list of new locations? We expect the governor to insist it's Donald's fault who made her do it, not Zohran Mamdani. She figures New Yorkers will buy the claims of savage federal cuts, which in reality will amount to slower than once planned increases in aid, not actual reductions. The Chameleon Act has kept Hochul rising in politics for decades. Maybe she can pull it off for one more campaign. But Mamdani's howling socialist jackals are a different beast. Notably, they put out a call for members to infiltrate, as I mentioned in the last segment, community boards, PTAs, any kind of grassroots institutions, take them over so that they can feel that the Democratic Socialists of America have a mass ownership over the city and to help Mamdani's agenda. The problem with paying the bullies to go away is that they always come back demanding more, and that's kind of the history, specifically the Democratic Socialists of America, which we've mentioned in the past. You have to be 100% in adherence to their beliefs and their platitudes, or they will turn on you. So they always come back demanding more. If Hochul gives the progressives one tax hike in 2026, they'll be back demanding twice as much in 2027. Sadly, if she wins re-election in November, she'll likely spend her entire next 4 years giving in to the far left. No one expects her to run in 2030, so she'll be free to throw all New York taxpayers to the wolves. How perfect is that, kind of encompassing what we've been saying all morning? She also wanted to make clear that she's staunchly pro-Israel despite her full-throated support for Mamdani. That's where they don't see eye to eye, the anti-Semitic comments that he made in the past. We got to take one last break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
It's that time of year again. The White Elephant Gift Exchange, where you always end up with, well, let's call them interesting gifts. I'm not even sure what this one is. But wait, there is always that one gift that everyone wants and everyone steals. And in the end, only one lucky person walks away with the coveted prize. It's Quick Fill gift card season. Quick Fill. Merry Christmas, America.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
In Albany, Buffalo, was born.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bust.
Thousands lined the pier at Seneca Harbor. Race weekend brought thousands to Watkins Glen International.
Hundreds and horseheads joined other cities around the country on Saturday for the No Kings protest.
Day one of the National Glider Competition, severe flooding has caused major disruptions in parts of Steuben County.
Throughout the year, prison reform has become a priority around New York State.
People facing cancer, often with standing between them and life-saving treatment, is a ride to get there.
Thank you so much for picking me up.
Volunteer at cancer.org/drive.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning, getting ready to wrap up this Friday morning edition with a couple quick hits here at the end. But let's go to Mark's comment. He says, I see Hochul's chance of being governor again dwindling every day, and that's awesome. Elise Stefanik for governor 2027. Thank you very much. Just as we mentioned Mamdani, he is going to stop the sweeping of homeless encampments, which was really an initiative that a key initiative of Mayor Adams. So he's already vowed to stop clearing homeless encampments throughout the Big Apple, ending a signature initiative pushed by the Adams administration. Mamdani saying, if you're not connecting homeless New Yorkers to the housing that they so desperately need, then you cannot deem anything you're doing to be a success. All right. There we go. Also in New York, and you know the reason why, so don't get too excited over this. It's time for New York to reinstate the mask ban. Now, we had called for this at a time when there was so many anti-Semitic protests in the street, and they were using it as ways to intimidate and scare Jewish community members. This article is saying it not, well, a little bit because of the agitators, as they put it, but more because of, can you guess? ICE. Because of ICE. Okay, what can we breeze through quickly here? Some of Ilhan Omar's allies are tied to the massive Minnesota COVID meal fraud scheme involving the Somali community. Members of her inner circle personally profited from the $1 billion welfare fraud scandal in her district that has placed her Somali constituency under a White House microscope. We also know that Minnesota Democrat lawmakers, including the Attorney General, were handed over $53,000 in campaign contributions by these fraudsters who ripped off taxpayers' cash meant to feed children. And that does it. I guess we'll end on that note because we are out of time. There is a piece at the New York Post, if you have an opportunity to get to it, by Josh Appel. And the headline is George Soros wrecked American criminal justice, one leftist district attorney at a time. All right, let's do some quick housekeeping before we go because it's a busy weekend. We want to thank Catherine Price from the Gaffer District for being on the program. Of course, this weekend, the Saturday, is Sparkle Christmas. We also have, and it actually started yesterday, but it continues tonight, tomorrow, and on Sunday, Irving Berlin's White Christmas, the musical, from Corning Painting Post High School Drama Club. We thank them for being on the program earlier in the week. Don't forget the Painting Post holiday celebration will be held tonight with our good friend Doc Possum and our good friend Santa Claus. That is tonight from 5:30 till 7:30 at the Painting Post Fire Station, 261 Steuben Street, Painting Post. And help out the sheriff, Jim Allard, and their amazing Toys for Tots, Fill the Patrol Car, and Coats for Kids event. It is this Saturday at Irwin and Hornell Walmart Plazas from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. And if you attend any of these events, send pictures in. Love to see it. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay warm, and we'll be back Monday morning starting at 6 a.m. for Frankly Speaking, only on WYDC TV. Big Fox. I look forward to it already.
Don't have time to go to the gym? The health club is not an option?